honesty, and truth. Hello and welcome back. I hope all has been well and that I've offended as few people as possible with these recent videos. And if I have offended any, I pray that it was only enough to lead to repentance. So, what is honesty? Today, that's what we're going to discuss. Let's look at some definitions, although I'm not going to put them on screen. I'm going to read them off because, making the slides is really exhausting sometimes. Honesty is the word that denotes the quality of being truthful, not lying, not committing fraud, and not deceiving. Etymologically, the word honesty originates from the Latin word honos, which refers to dignity and honor. Honesty can be a characteristic of a person or an institution. It means speaking the truth and neither omitting facts nor dissembling. An honest individual rejects cunning and the slyness of always trying to gain an unfair advantage. In explicit terms, honesty is unconditional obedience to established moral rules. There are procedures for certain types of actions that serve as guides or points of reference for decision making. Practicing honesty in a broad sense is very difficult because of social conventions, which do not always reflect reality. They're taken for granted simply because they're formalized and deeply rooted. For many, an honest person is someone who does not lie or steal, and who lives an honest life to find joy, peace, respect from others, and good friendships. Nowadays, the concept of honesty is somewhat distorted as individuals who act correctly or honestly are labeled as squares or humiliated by others. These days, honesty is often viewed as subjective rather than based on facts and truths. The boundaries between truth and lies or right and wrong have become so distorted that people often fail to recognize truth or rectitude. People tend to base everything on their own personal feelings, like we talked about. They rarely stop to analyze whether their truths are grounded in facts and righteousness or merely in their own emotions and comfort. We talked about that. Your emotions and comfort have nothing to do with what is true. You don't get to decide that. Anyway, I'm not going to tangent this video. I'm trying not to. Truth signifies that which is intimately linked to sincerity and authenticity. It is the absence of lies. Truth is also the affirmation of what is correct, of what is certainly right and aligns with the reality at hand. Truth is often met with disbelief and skepticism, which skepticism is the state of doubting or disbelieving the truth. An individual with a constant tendency to doubt the truth is called a skeptic. When people or groups attempt to show interest in subjects they don't actually like or understand, they're labeled as pseudo, meaning they're not genuine. Examples include pseudo-Catholic, pseudo-intellectual, pseudo-canonical, pseudepigraphia, although, I don't know. The truth of the facts plays a crucial role in judging human actions. When a truth leaves room for doubt, it is essential to verify its veracity, as it may or may not implicate an individual. A truth can be demonstrated without being acknowledged as true, simply because it lacks clarity. It's then called a postulate, as it still requires further proof to arrive at the actual truth. According to the philosophical school of relativism, truth is relative. I'm just not even going to say anything. I'm just going to keep going because I'm just going to keep going. That is, there is no absolute truth that applies universally. Thus, a truth may apply to some people, but not others, depending on each individual's perspective and context. Okay, now that we've gotten that out of the way, we can get to the real truth, because this has been so horrible going through what people believe truth is defined as. All of those examples of truth are literally just opinions, or they're things that aren't actually true. If something is true, it's always the same. It's consistent. You can't say something is true, but it not be the same always. Absolute truth is that which holds true at all times and in all places, What is true for one person is true for everyone. For example, everyone needs to breathe air. And people cannot live in the past and the future at the same time. Okay, so now that we got that out of our systems, on what must truth be based to be consistent for everyone? Like, there has to be something that truth can be based on that would make it always true for everyone all the time. Clearly, it must be what? Can everyone guess? Guess. The word of Yahuah, our Elohah, of course. Let's go to Psalm 119, 160. Thy word is true from the beginning, and every one of thy righteous judgments endureth forever. John 17, 17. Sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth. Anything not based on the word of our Father Yahuah is a lie. He is the creator of truth and honesty. Yahuah expects all of us to be honest and truthful with one another so that we may receive correction from each other and grow in righteousness. If we stop telling the truth, then there's literally nothing but lies. Let's go to Proverbs 27:17. Iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend. Proverbs 27:5. Open rebuke is better than secret love. That's another, I can't wait to get onto this because so many times people don't want to openly say something. Instead, they'll leave it. Instead of being honest with the person up front, they'll leave it. They'll just not say anything, but you have no idea the damage that you do. It's better to just openly tell the truth than to love them in such a selfish way that you can't be honest. That's selfish. But we're not going to start now. Matthew 18:15-17. Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother. But if he will not hear thee, then take with thee one or two more, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every word may be established. Remember, this was a rule. You can't just say someone did something, but to prove, you have to have witnesses. You can't be the only one who thinks that, otherwise it might not be true. But if it's true, it's seen by multiple people or by everyone. And if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it unto the assembly. But if he neglect to hear the assembly, let him be unto thee as an heathen man and a publican. Now, it seems harsh, but when you think about it, by refusing to acknowledge a truth that everyone else sees, you run the risk of changing everyone else's perception to fit your own comfort, which is dangerous because if you're already in the lie, everyone else is now believing your lie because you're so convincing. It's like gaslighting to the point where a person starts to question whether, they're like, is it me? This person is being so serious. It can't be them. It must be me. Whatever. What happens when you aren't truthful or honest? Well, we all know. When you aren't honest with others, you create a bad situation for yourself and for them. Like I said, even if the truth isn't what they want to hear, it's better to be honest with them than to lie and to keep pretending just to maintain a good reputation with them or a relationship with them. Because then if you can't actually be honest with someone, do you have a good relationship with them? If your relationship is solid, you should be able to tell them the truth without being afraid that you'll lose them, right? Anyway, if someone you care about asks for your opinion on a situation they're facing or a decision they need to make, but you know them well enough to realize the honest answer isn't what they want to hear, that doesn't mean you should simply tell them what they want to hear just to comfort them. Tell them the truth, hoping that they'll listen and avoid a bad experience or situation. The truth might not make them happy in the moment, but it will help them in the future and keep your conscience clear. When you're dishonest, you run the risk of harming others by letting them believe something false and potentially spreading it. For example, if someone asks how they look before leaving the house, and you clearly notice a flaw, even just one, but you don't want to hurt their feelings or have them get upset with you for telling them the truth. If you tell them they look fine, imagine how embarrassed they'll be when someone points out the flaw. Someone else, because you had the opportunity, you didn't take it. It's better to hear something true, but painful from someone who you know and love than someone who maybe just doesn't care and just looks at it and is just like, this is messy. Imagine how many people have already seen how bad, or like seen the situation and have judged them in their minds. Imagine how much pain you could have spared them by being honest. It's hard, yes, but it's necessary. Being honest with yourself is also fundamental. You can't start even to be honest if you yourself can't be honest with yourself, even just in your mind. A lot of times we begin to tell ourselves lies so many times that we believe it. We begin to justify instead of correct, and that's not good. When you're not honest with yourself, nothing that crosses your mind or leaves your mouth can be trusted, because it's based on your own emotions and attempts to justify your behavior rather than on what our Father Yahuah has said. For example, when you suspect you've done something wrong or behaved improperly, but refuse to humble yourself and acknowledge that fact, and instead fight off any condemning thoughts by pointing out things others have done or using arguments that always cast you as a victim, even though your actions do not align with Yahuah's instructions or examples. It's you. It's not them. It's you. When you're dishonest with others, it creates like a weak, superficial relationship rather than a relationship based on truth and righteousness. Now, if you do that with yourself, imagine what that does to your mind. Your own mind can't be trusted, or you can't trust your own thoughts and emotions. If someone is constantly offended by your telling the truth, pray and reflect on whether that's someone who you should be even interacting with. Like, I've had situations like that where I can't be honest with this person ever. And I realize, like, this is a bad situation. Like, we're not actually close if I can never be honest with you. Especially if you are wrong and you know you're wrong and you're coming to me so that I can tell you that you're not wrong. Don't even ask me. Don't ask. I think a lot of people have come to realize, like, just don't ask her, because she's not going to say what you expect. And if what you're expecting is a correction and you just don't want to hear it, just still don't go. Just don't come to me and ask me anything. Just, And if we have different beliefs, like, anything that I tell you, anything that I believe is true is going to be based off Bible. If you don't believe Bible, then you're not going to believe what I'm telling you, or you're not going to value what I've said to you. You're going to feel like it's biased, when in fact, what you're wanting is an emotional response that you're not going to get from me. Sorry. Remember, even Yahuah said that those who weren't offended by him were blessed, and that those who heard and understood him should be, but that not everyone would be, or could be, because they weren't meant to. Like, not everyone is going to accept this. And you know what? That's sad, but it's their choice. Yahuah's never going to take their choice. Everyone should be blessed by him. Everyone already is. But everyone should be having life and having it more abundantly. But if you don't accept the salvation and, like, sort of the guidelines, not even guidelines, the lifestyle that comes with it, what do you expect? If a person's constantly angry, offended, or confrontational when you're just being honest or sincere, the unfortunate truth is likely that the truth is not in them. And that's harsh. But hey, let's go to John 8:42-47, one of my favorites. Yahuah said unto them, If Yahuah were your father, you would love me, for I proceeded forth and came from Yahuah. Neither came I of myself, but he sent me. Why do you not understand my speech, even because ye cannot hear my word? Ye are of your father the devil, and the lusty of your father you will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there's no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar, and the father of it. And because I tell you the truth, you believe me not. Which of you convinceth me of sin? And if I say the truth, why do you not believe me? He that is of Yahuah heareth Yahuah's word. Ye therefore hear them not, because you're not of Yahuah. Yikes. It's a painful thing to think about or to even, like, hear said, but if Yahuah says it, then it must be true. It's not for everybody. Some people want the rewards now, and you know what? There's nothing we can do about it. That's their choice. But one of the main things about telling truth, it's just for you. Sometimes it's just for you. If you do it and it's not appreciated, okay, well, your conscience is clear. It's like what he'd say to the prophets, to tell exactly what he said to them, despite what everyone would think or what everyone would do or whether they believe it or not. Because if I tell you, or if Yahuah tells you to do something, or if he would tell the prophets to say something and they didn't say it, then he's like, now you run the risk of putting this person in danger, because maybe that person would have listened to you, or even just one of the people would have listened to you and would have saved them. But by never actually doing it and taking the chance, now there's no chance. Now their disobedience in their behavior is your fault, because you didn't let me to correct them through you. But back to the topic. It's harsh. Like what Yahushua says is harsh. But when you think about it, if we reject the things that Yahushua says, we become captives, because the truth is what sets us free, isn't it? He also said, if you love me, keep my commandments. But let's keep going. John 8:32. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Be honest and walk in the truth no matter what happens. Remember that we seek to please our Father, Yahuah, not people. If they were walking with our Father, they would be doing the same thing. Now, if we stop doing what he asks us to do to follow them, then we're serving them. We become captive to them. We become servants to them. And that's just unacceptable. No one wants to just be a servant. Think about it. Or if you're going to be a servant, you're going to be a servant to someone who is actually able to help you and take care of you, and who you'll get benefits from serving. Not from some human. Not that we shouldn't love them and care about them, but consider, don't let other people's emotions stop you from doing what you know is right, such as telling the truth or being honest. It really is important. But this is long. Until next time, Hallelujah.